Welcome to My Books and Storytime by Mybooksandstorytime. Let's explore. In the cold marshlands of Kent, England, where mist rolls over the graves of the forgotten, a lonely boy named Philip Pierup, better known as Pip, has his life forever changed by a terrifying encounter. Born poor and destined for obscurity, Pip never dreams of wealth, privilege, or grandeur. But when fate thrusts him into a world of secrets, betrayals, and ambition, Pip begins a journey that will challenge everything he believes about love, class, and what it truly means to be a gentleman. Dickens' Great Expectations is not just a story of rags to riches. It is a deep exploration of human nature, guilt, and the painful realization that what we desire most is not always what we need. Chapter 1: A Ghostly Encounter in the Marshes. Pip is an orphan, raised by his harsh and resentful older sister, Mrs. Joe, and her kind-hearted husband, Joe Gargery, the village blacksmith. His childhood is shaped by hunger, cold, and strict discipline, but despite everything, Joe is a source of warmth in his life. One evening, as Pip wanders through the marshes near his parents' graves, he encounters a terrifying sight: a ragged, shivering convict, his chains rattling as he threatens Pip to bring him food and a file to cut his shackles. Terrified, Pip obeys. Sneaking food from his sister's home and a file from Joe's forge, he delivers them to the desperate man. Soon after, the convict is recaptured but, to Pip's relief, does not betray him. Instead, he lies to the authorities, saying he stole the food himself. This small act of kindness, an unexpected gratitude from a criminal, will later shape Pip's entire future. Chapter 2: A Visit to Sadie's House. Life in the village is monotonous until Pip is summoned to the decaying yet grand Sadie's house, home to the mysterious Miss Havisham. A wealthy, reclusive woman, Miss Havisham has not stepped outside in decades. She was once jilted at the altar, and now lives in her wedding gown, frozen in time, surrounded by the remains of her ruined wedding feast. At Sadie's house, Pip meets Estella, Miss Havisham's beautiful yet cold-hearted ward. Estella mocks Pip for his coarse hands and simple manners, making him feel painfully aware of his low status. Yet, despite her cruelty, Pip is captivated. He begins to dream of becoming a gentleman, not for himself, but to be worthy of Estella. For years, he visits Sadie's house, each time growing more obsessed with Estella, while Miss Havisham fuels his fantasies, encouraging him to believe he is meant for something greater. Chapter 3: A Mysterious Benefactor. Pip resigns himself to following in Joe's footsteps as a blacksmith, though he secretly resents his humble future. But then the impossible happens. A London lawyer named Mr. Jaggers arrives with astonishing news. Pip has come into great expectations. A mysterious benefactor has left him a fortune, and he is to be raised as a gentleman in London. However, there are conditions. Pip must never inquire about the identity of his benefactor, and he must leave his old life behind. Believing this wealth to be from Miss Havisham, given as part of a grand plan to make him suitable for Estella, Pip eagerly accepts. He says a painful goodbye to Joe and sets off for London, determined to become a refined gentleman. Chapter 4: The Corrupting Influence of London. London is a city of contrasts, grand, exciting, but also corrupt and dangerous. Pip's guardian, Mr. Jaggers, is a powerful lawyer, feared by criminals and respected by the wealthy. Pip meets his new roommate, Herbert Pocket, a cheerful and kind-hearted young man, who helps him navigate this new world. As Pip settles into his gentlemanly lifestyle, he quickly adopts the arrogance of the upper class. He shuns Joe, embarrassed by his simple ways, and racks up debts to maintain appearances. Meanwhile, Estella remains distant. Though Pip visits her whenever he can, she continues to treat him with indifference. Miss Havisham, always watching, seems pleased, though she never explicitly confirms that she orchestrated his fortune. Chapter 5: A Shocking Revelation. Pip's comfortable life is shattered when his true benefactor is revealed. Not Miss Havisham, but Abel Magwitch, the convict he helped as a child. Magwitch, having escaped prison and made a fortune in Australia, never forgot Pip's kindness. He risked everything to secretly make Pip a gentleman, believing he could transform the boy who once showed him compassion. Pip is horrified. His dreams were built on the wealth of a criminal, not the grand plan of a rich lady. Disgusted, he initially wants nothing to do with Magwitch. But as he learns about the convict's life, his suffering, betrayals, and the kindness that led him to Pip, his feelings shift. Meanwhile, Estella, to Pip's devastation, announces her engagement to the brutal Bentley Drummle. She does not love him, but she has been raised to break hearts, and she believes she is incapable of true affection. Miss Havisham's lifelong plan, to mold Estella into a weapon of revenge against men, has succeeded too well. Chapter 6, Redemption and Ruin. Determined to help Magwitch escape England before he is arrested again, Pip risks everything. But their plans go wrong. Magwitch is caught and sentenced to death. In his final days, Pip stays by his benefactor's side. In a deeply emotional moment, Pip tells Magwitch that his lost daughter, whom he long believed dead, is alive. And not just alive, she is Estella. Magwitch dies in peace, knowing that in some way, his love and sacrifice were not in vain. Miss Havisham, meanwhile, realizes too late the damage she has caused. Guilt-ridden, she begs Pip for forgiveness. As she kneels before the fire in her decaying gown, her dress catches flame. Pip rushes to save her, but she is terribly burned. She dies shortly after, haunted by her regrets. Estella, now trapped in an unhappy marriage, pays the price for her upbringing. Pip, heartbroken, loses everything: his wealth, his expectations, his belief in a perfect future with Estella. Final thoughts. What it means to be a gentleman. Pip returns to Joe, who forgives him without hesitation. Humbled and wiser, Pip realizes that being a gentleman has nothing to do with wealth or social class. Joe, despite his lack of refinement, was always the truest gentleman of all, kind, loyal, and honorable. As the years pass, Pip builds an honest life for himself. In the final pages, he meets Estella again. She is now a widow, softened by time and sorrow. Their parting words are ambiguous. Do they have a future together, or is it too late? Dickens leaves it open-ended, allowing readers to decide if Pip's greatest expectation, love, will ever be fulfilled. Conclusion. Great Expectations is more than just a coming-of-age novel. It is a deeply emotional exploration of ambition, identity, and the consequences of our choices. Pip's journey is one of illusions and disillusionment. He chases wealth, believing it will bring him happiness, only to realize that true worth lies in love, loyalty, and integrity. The novel's brilliance lies in its ability to show the fluidity of social class and the complexities of human nature. Miss Havisham, Magwitch, Estella, Joe, each represents different forms of suffering, kindness, and redemption. In the end, Pip does not get the fairy tale ending he expected, but he finds something far more valuable: self-awareness, redemption, and the knowledge that greatness comes not from wealth but from the heart. Stay tuned for more enlightening content. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe the world icons.